Hello, everyone. My name is Michelle. I'm one of the nurse practitioners at Student Health Services at the CCSF Ocean campus, and I'm actually here on campus today, which is very exciting in these pandemic times. I am going to be talking to you today about a very broad topic and ways that all of us can stay healthy. So, this is a presentation about staying healthy. The objectives of this talk are to go over some ways that you can empower yourself to stay healthy. And I'm not going to go too deep into any of these subjects because I only have so much time. So I'll touch on each of these. And if you ever feel like you want to talk more about a specific subject, you can always schedule a video visit or an in-person visit with one of us, one of our nurse practitioners, or one of our mental health staff. So, which you will learn more about in this presentation. So, many of you probably have ideas how to stay healthy, and you'll know some of these things. And so, let's get started. Stress management. I'm going to go through our objectives. Stress management. We're going to talk about substance use, exercise, nutrition, self image, sleep, relationship health, sexual health, your financial health, social life and social connections, and then the big one of 2020, COVID, and then go over some of the services that we offer at Student Health in case you need to be reminded about that. So, why is it important for us to stay healthy? Each of us have to ask ourselves that question, and the answer can be different. It can range from things like wanting more energy to avoiding disease and illness, to better mental health, feeling more confident, better sex. There are a lot of reasons that we want to stay healthy. And health is influenced by a number of factors. So we're going to get into that. And stress. Stress is a big one. And so, as you can see, stress, when we have too little stress, it can mean that we're not really that motivated. We're kind of chilling, not really doing very much. As we move through this curve, we very quickly get into a place where too much stress can cause things like fatigue, feeling so tired, anxiety, panic, anger, and can even lead to breakdowns, mental health breakdowns, and physical breakdowns. And so, when our stress system is activated, our body releases stress hormones. And those hormones, when we lived in caves, were very useful to help us get away from a threat. But when we live with stress day in and day out, those hormones are not good for us. And if you look at this list, it really does affect us from head to toe. It can impact our ability to get good sleep. Stress can cause acne. It can cause joint pain. It can cause ulcers and irritable bowel symptoms like upset stomach, nausea, changes in our weight. It can reduce our sex drive. It can actually impact sperm production. And it can also affect our immune system so that we're not able to fight disease as well as we could if we weren't stressed. And so, how do we cope with stress? I'm sure many of you have coping mechanisms for stress, and there are positive coping mechanisms and there are negative coping mechanisms. And so, we want to learn healthy ways to cope with stress, and how you react to stress is influenced by your genetics. So we can't control that. We don't control how you received your genes, but that can influence your ability to withstand stress. And then life experiences 100% have an impact on how you react to certain situations. And so we know that life is stressful. Stress can come and go. For many students, it gets worse around midterms and finals. And so it's really great to learn to identify what your stressors are and then what you can do to kind of minimize that response. And so, some positive coping ways are exercise. A lot of people find that getting outside and getting into nature, going on a walk on a trail, or even just sitting in nature can be helpful. Meditation or deep breathing, having a chat with someone you trust, watching something funny, having boundaries with social media and screens. Social media, in particular, has been very clearly associated with stress and anxiety. And so, having kind of rules around that. And then, negative stress coping things are things like bottling it up and holding it in, using alcohol, drugs, cigarettes to deal, pulling all nighters, never taking a break, just go, 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 going, isolating, not connecting. That's been really hard in 2020. And then having poor boundaries with work or school. I would also say poor boundaries with social media. And so we're going to dive right into one of the ones I just mentioned, which is alcohol use. And the kind of dietary guidelines for Americans have this guide that 1 drink per day for women and up to 2 drinks per day for men is moderate. But if you look at the serving sizes, that means that 1 pint of beer is the 2 drinks for a man, and that half a pint of beer is the 1 drink for women. And so, um, many people in America are over drinking and not drinking moderately and using alcohol as a way to cope. And so, when we talk about heavy drinking or alcohol abuse is a pattern of drinking that leads to negative outcomes in your health, in your relationships, or your ability to come to school and do your work as a student, or your ability to work. Smoking is another thing that affects you from head to toe, and a lot of people use cigarettes or nicotine to help them cope with stress. And this is a pretty strong visual about how smoking affects you from head to toe, and the numerous kind of man-made yucky ingredients in cigarettes. And the bottom right picture here about what happens when you stop smoking is pretty miraculous. Within a week, things start improving. Within months, even more starts improving. Your lung function increases by 30%, so on and so forth. So you can have a look at that and see how quickly your body repairs and heals. Many students say, well, I only smoke once in a while. I have 1 cigarette a week or even 1 cigarette a month. And there's pretty clear data that even smoking occasionally increases your risk of death significantly. There really is not a safe level of smoking. And so we really encourage you to quit. If you need help quitting, please schedule a visit with one of our nurse practitioners here at Student Health. Vaping is new on the scene, and well, newer on the scene than cigarettes. And it is also really dangerous. Its main ingredient is nicotine, which is highly addictive. When people stop vaping, they can have withdrawal symptoms, which is a sign it's addictive. And it has been shown to be associated with a number of risk factors, which I'm going to talk about. The other ingredient is called propylene glycol, and it can lead to a number of negative side effects as well. It's particularly dangerous for people with lung disease or asthma. It can cause lung and eye irritation, sore throats, muscle aches and pains, and it was never meant to be consumed by humans. So that's a red flag to me when the company that makes it says, oh, we never meant for that to be used by humans. And so there are also ingredients to make it taste good. And so there are flavor um, ingredients. There is something that vaping can lead to called popcorn lung, which is a lung disease that a number of employees had developed after they were exposed to one of the ingredients in vaping, and so you just want to be really cautious about this. There's a number of other toxic substances, and a year or two ago, e-cigarettes were actually blowing up. Like literally, they were going up in flames and causing severe burns and injuries. And so, there's a lot of reasons that it's not ideal and that we want to support you in quitting vaping as well. And so please call and schedule if you're interested in quitting vaping. Now, the since June of 2019, there's been a very serious new diagnosis called vaping associated lung injury. And people that present to the hospital, uh, 30% of the people that present to the hospital with vaping injury have to be on life support or a mechanical breathing machine in the intensive care unit. Lung damage can happen very suddenly where you're fine, and then all of a sudden you have really severe symptoms. And that has happened in people who have not been vaping for very long and young people. It's not just happening to older people. And so, knowledge is power. Um, this stuff is definitely bad news. Um, which leads me into another thing that a lot of people use to kind of cope with life. And marijuana has been studied in very specific studies related to cancer, cancer related weakness, cancer related weight loss and appetite, chronic pain, sleep disorders, eye disease, and multiple sclerosis. Outside of those conditions, marijuana has not really been studied, and it was legalized not that long ago in California. And so when marijuana smokers or consumers say, well, there's no risk of using marijuana, I personally get a little uncomfortable because there's actually no data to be able to say that. There's no research studies that say, oh, it's totally safe, don't worry about it. And so knowledge, again, knowledge is power. And so what I want to make sure is just that you know that outside of these conditions, there might be some risk associated with marijuana use. And so, in the developing brain, marijuana can affect thinking and memory. And for some of our students who still have developing brains into their 20s, this is something that you want to keep in mind. Um, Heavy or daily marijuana use lowers men's testosterone levels and can affect your sperm quality and sperm count. So if you are wanting to have a child, you don't want to use marijuana because that can affect the quality of the sperm. It can also decrease your interest in sex and decrease fertility for women. And so, it's good to kind of keep that in mind if you're at a point in your life where you're ready to start a family. And then another thing that I hear often from marijuana users is that it's not addictive, but it has been proven actually that it is addictive, at least psychologically. So 1 in 12 occasional marijuana users felt withdrawal symptoms if they couldn't use when they wanted to. Withdrawal symptoms can be things like irritability, sleeplessness, decreased appetite, anxiety, and craving marijuana. And as you use more, the risk of that psychological dependence goes up. The other thing is smoking marijuana can definitely irritate your lungs. So many of the same issues that tobacco smoke can cause can also happen with marijuana use. increased coughing and phlegm production, mucus coming out of your chest, more chest illness, like upper respiratory infections and coughs, and then you're at a higher risk of lung infections because of smoking. This is also another topic. Does it lead to other drug use? And really, the jury is still out on that. We don't. There's no clear evidence that it does. Um, so that argument is not one that we kind of rely on. How long does it stay in your system after smoking? It does depend on how often you smoke. People who smoke pot once in a while will have a negative drug screen after a week of no marijuana. Heavy users, daily, kind of more of your stoner types, will continue testing positive for a month after they've last used marijuana. Um, on the heels of alcohol, tobacco, and marijuana, signs of substance abuse can be things like changes in your school performance, changes in your mood, your attitude, breaking the rules, loss of interest in your family, change in your hygiene, change in your friend circle, secrecy, lying, stealing. And so, please, if you are worried about yourself or someone else, you can always reach out to us, and we will do our best to help get you the care that you need. So, one of the positive stress coping mechanisms I mentioned and ways to stay healthy is exercise. And so, adults need exercise to be healthy. And the guide is about 2.5 hours every week of moderate to intense aerobic activity. That's like a walk, a jog, a hike, and muscle strengthening activities 2 or more days a week. And that's for men and women. Historically, women were not getting that muscle strengthening activity, and we need that just as much as men. Or if you are doing vigorous activity, which is more aggressive, like running and wind sprints and high interval intensity training, 1 hour and 15 minutes a week, plus the muscle strengthening 2 or more days a week, and or a mix of these things, the kind of moderate to more vigorous exercise. Also, the research shows that 10-minute intervals can be just as effective as longer intervals. So sometimes people think, oh, I have to go to the gym, it takes so much time. And really, it doesn't have to. You can go for a 10-minute brisk walk 3 times a day, get 30 minutes in, and over the course of a week, if you do that 5 times, there you go, you've gotten your exercise. And so you can cut it up into smaller snippets of movement and have the same benefit. Um, Multiple benefits from head to toe again. You can have a look at that on your own. And basically, I'm going to focus on the kind of benefits of regular exercise versus inactivity. So more energy, you look better, you feel better, you have more confidence, you sleep better. You might have activities with friends, so you're kind of bonding and connecting with friends around exercise. And well established that folks that exercise are more productive. They're more productive at school, they're more productive at work, they're more productive at home. And so lots of benefits. Mood as well is an important um, exercise kind of side effect. It definitely can boost your mood. The kind of cost of inactivity: more easily stressed, more cranky, lower mood, weight gain, you don't love the way you look, you might eat more, you might drink more, not as productive at work. And so, sorry, before I leave that, I do hear from a lot of students that, well, I've never been in a routine of exercise. And what I am really big on is just setting realistic goals. And if you have a break, instead of maybe sitting down and scrolling through your phone, if you can do one lap around the campus or walk around your, when we're back on campus, or walk around your block briskly, like you're late for an appointment, that gets you moving and can be beneficial. So you just start with 5 minutes and then maybe 10 and then 15 and add on to it as it fits into your day, and you will see the benefits as I mentioned. Nutrition is a huge topic. I could do a weekend long presentation about nutrition, and so I'm going to just focus on a couple specific things. And one, as students, that's important for you is breakfast. It's very, very well established that breakfast is associated with better brain functioning, memory, fewer missed days of school or work, and improved mood. And so do your best. A lot of students say, well, I don't have time. And so there are lots of ways to be creative about how to get your breakfast. You could pick a time in the week where you can hard boil a bunch of eggs, keep them in a bowl in your refrigerator in the morning. Those are like little power bombs of protein and calories, and you can grab your eggs and head off to campus. Fruit is another thing. Granola you can take it on the go. So there are ways that you can kind of get stuff to go. Energy bars are very, very trendy, and every time I go to the grocery store, I feel like there's 5 new brands of energy bar on the market, and you do wanna be careful because a lot of energy bars are very high in sugar, which is not really your friend, and so just make sure you're looking at your labels and try to get things that are lower in sugar, like under 4 grams. I know that's a tall order, but that's ideal, and just try to work it in for yourself. Oatmeal, instant oatmeal, if all you need is hot water, oatmeal is a great breakfast. These are some examples of meals and what you're going for, what you want your plate to look like. And usually, to keep things simple, I say you want half your plate to be vegetables. It could be a big salad, it could be cooked vegetables. I usually have my fruit off to the side, and half of my plate is veggies, and then some whole grains like brown rice or quinoa or couscous or farro. And then healthy proteins are a little bit of your plate. And I'm not going to get into keto diets and other trends in eating. This is kind of a general guideline about healthy eating. In the protein department, fish is really healthy for you. Poultry, beans, nuts, cheese, that all counts as protein. Um, Related to nutrition is how you feel about yourself. And so we want everyone to feel good about themselves no matter what body they are in. And so these are some general tips about kind of eating and nutrition and ways to shift focus on kind of self talk about yourself. And basically everybody belongs here. We are supportive of everyone. This is a body positive environment, and we're also very well aware of the numerous factors that affect our self image, whether it's society, our culture, our family, the community we're in, media, magazines, television, and then social media. All of these things influence how we feel about ourselves. A ballet dancer is in a very different community than a football player when it comes to body image and what they are expected to achieve. And so there's a lot of research and information online about body positivity. Again, if you're interested, please schedule an appointment with me or one of our other nurse practitioners, and we are happy to talk to you about it further and kind of get you resources if you need them. A local organization that was started in Berkeley that I've been following for over 10 years is called The Body Positive. And they're kind of at the forefront of this movement, and they have tons of resources online. And so you can check out that website if you have time and interest. And we know that sleep is important for a number of reasons related to your schoolwork. All of these reasons, I could argue, are important for our students. So learning, memory, how safe you are, your mood, your heart health, and people that don't sleep enough can affect your immune system such that you get sick more often. Sleep actually helps you fight cancer in the long run. And so sleep is definitely something that you want to make sure you're getting. There are a number of ways. Here's just a kind of visual about how it can affect your health. And again, I'm not going to spend heaps of time on sleep because we have a whole other presentation about it in far more detail. But how much do you really need? Depending on how old you are, most adults need 7 to 8 hours. There are outliers that need only 4. Steve Jobs, for instance, he was like a 3 to 4 hour guy. Now he got pancreatic cancer, and so I don't know if that's related, but he didn't need very much sleep. Other adults need more like 10 to 12. It kind of depends. It's all individual, but on average, adults need about 7 to 8 hours. And so check in with yourself and see how many hours you're getting and if you're really getting enough sleep. Um, if you're not getting enough sleep, there are definitely some things you can do to improve your sleep quality, and those are having sleep habits. So just like we have to train babies how to sleep, some adults need to retrain themselves how to get good sleep. And so you can have a look at this. The big one that's hard for a lot of students is having the same time that you go to sleep every night and the same time that you wake up every morning. So, for instance, 10 p.m., you go to sleep every night, no matter if it's weekend or weekday. 6 a.m. every morning, you get up no matter what. That's kind of hard for many students, and so you do your best with that. If you can do that 5 days a week, you might notice your sleep improves. Exercise, like I've mentioned, is definitely important. Limiting caffeine. Caffeine has a profound impact on deep sleep. And so, for many people, if they stop drinking caffeine by around 3 p.m., if they want to sleep at 10 or 11, they will be okay. But if they're drinking caffeine after 3, that can impact their sleep negatively. Using relaxation exercises or audio recordings or meditation, that also can be really beneficial for sleep as well as other things. Meditation. So, meditation is definitely something that many of you have heard of. It is what I would call trendy, but it's a trend that I can really get behind because meditation has a number of benefits. I mentioned it relating to sleep, but it also can lower your blood pressure. It can help your digestion. It helps kind of relax you overall, relieve muscle tension, and it can improve your mood. It can kind of help you lower anxiety or stress and give people self esteem and confidence and motivation. And meditation can be accessed in a variety of ways. Since we've been in quarantine, in person is not an option, but there are a number of apps. There's the Calm app, Headspace, Buddhify. There's a number of ways that students can access meditation, and some of these apps also offer free trials. And so you could give that a whirl and see if that helps reduce stress, which helps you stay healthy. Um, what and so moving on, meditation can also help you in your relationships. And so it is important to kind of think about what is a healthy relationship, and do I have healthy relationships, and our mental health providers at Student Health Services are also here to help you process these kinds of questions. And so there are a variety of signs that you're in a healthy relationship, including trust and good communication, laughter, really feeling like you can be yourself and your authentic self. You enjoy this person that you're in a relationship with. You feel accepted and loved. And when I say relationship, it doesn't have to be a partner. I'm also talking about friends, I'm talking about siblings, I'm talking about parents. And so these are things that are signs of a healthy relationship. There's other things on this list that you can also have a look at. I think respect is a big one. Trust and respect. And when entering new relationships, whether that's intimate relationships or friend relationships, you want to kind of check in. What are your boundaries? What do you want physically? What do you want emotionally? Are you willing to take risks or not? Are you and your partner going to get tested before you're intimate? And so these are kind of good questions to check in about so that you kind of start off on a good foot. Um, and some red flags. So if we were in class together, I'd ask you, what are some red flags? And basically, a big one is when you're in a relationship and your partner is blaming you for choices that they have made that have led to outcomes that they didn't like. You are the one that's being blamed. Your partner's not able to kind of admit when they're wrong or take responsibility for their decisions. You notice that conversations are dominated by one person and their interests. This can be common in friend relationships. Um, you are being called names, you're being talked down to, your partner is aggressive or volatile, holds grudges, like holds on to things that have happened before and keeps bringing them up. Those are all negative signs. And again, we are here to help you process if you are finding any of these red flags in your relationships. Um, so, your sexual health is another way to stay healthy. And at Student Health Services, we can educate you about sexually transmitted infections, get you tested, also test for and prevent pregnancy, talk about contraception and birth control. We are here on campus and we can get you started on birth control, ranging from the birth control pill to long acting reversible contraception like the IUD or the implant. And please contact Student Health Services if you're interested in having an appointment to go through that. And I'll talk a little bit later about how you can do that. Um, another another stressor that can lead to not being as healthy as you'd like is financial stress. And so, some very common stressors relate to not knowing what to do about money. And so, try to reach out if you need some help figuring out a budget, working through a budget plan and following through, and then manage your financial stress just like you would any other stress. Ignoring it is not a management strategy. So, managing your money, like using an online tool or an app, there are ways that you can set up auto pay for your bills, tracking your expenses. Be very careful of fraud, Don't give out your social security number, your PIN. Review your statements. Make sure that what is showing up on your statements are things that you've actually purchased. Credit cards are a huge source of stress for people, and so do your best to pay off your credit card bill every month, because the interest on that credit card is so high. You sometimes end up paying more than twice the original cost of an item if you're not able to pay that off. And so you can kind of read through and see some other tips here about money management. And I'm going to move into more about staying healthy and how you feel about yourself, noticing what messages you're telling yourself. We call that self-talk. Um, what do we know that what we say to ourselves affects how we feel. And so if you're noticing that you're pretty negative about yourself and you're putting yourself down, um, you can kind of counter that negative message with a positive one. And when you notice you're saying that negative message, try the positive message. Also, our mental health staff are here to help you process that negative feeling. And so please contact us if you feel like that's something you need some help with. Having fun is a very important part of staying healthy. Having social connections in quarantine, this has been challenging, but two of these photos are things outside, because you can still connect with friends and stay safe from a COVID perspective by being outside, distancing, going to the park and having a picnic, doing things that you enjoy. Connecting with your friends and having fun is really important. Um, Here's a list of things that you can do to feel happier. Feeling happier is an important part to staying healthy. And basically, this is kind of a summary of some things I've talked about so far. Here is some information about student health services and how to contact us. Our mission is to support and promote the physical and psychological health of students at City College of San Francisco. And so, as I've mentioned multiple times, we have mental health specialists here, we have our nurse practitioners here, and we are ready to help you. There are a couple ways that you can contact us through your patient portal. This is a link that you can click on and get to our counter during our open hours. We provide a number of services: episodic care, psychological care, reproductive health, birth control, pregnancy testing, etc. And we love talking to students about nutrition and smoking cessation, disease prevention, and tools to manage your own physical and mental health. Student health is located on formerly Phelan Avenue. I couldn't find an updated map that had Frida Kahlo on it, but we're kind of over at the corner of the campus here. And so give us a call, come in. We are here on campus, or schedule a video visit. This is a list of the various medical services that we provide. And we also refer to primary care providers and specialists. We help students sign up for insurance if uninsured. And so again, just contact us if you feel you need those services. Family Pact is another insurance program for family planning services specifically, and we help sign you up if you're eligible. And women, men, and teens who are able to become pregnant can get Family Pact services if they are low income or a student. And so you can come in and we can sign you up for that so that you can get those services. This is a list of what's covered for men and women. And our mental health counseling side, some more about that side of services. We offer a safe and confidential place to talk about some of the things that I've mentioned, and short-term individual and couples counseling. We have some support groups, which you'll see in a moment, some workshops, daily drop-in hours, resources and referrals, and then mental health consultations for instructors, staff, administrators. And students bring a wide range of issues that they would like to work on with our mental health team: relationships and interpersonal conflict, romantic breakups or disappointments, problems with studying, time management, procrastination, feeling bad, that self-talk that I was talking about, cultural, ethnic identity, sexual identity, depression, anxiety, trauma, international students, immigrant, refugee concerns, loss and grief, previous or current emotional, physical, or sexual abuse, body image, questions about alcohol or other substances, and then LGBTQ concerns. And so, again, please contact us if you are feeling like you could use that support. So we have two support groups this semester, and one is how do I feel about, how do you feel about your closest relationships? The other is called WRAP, Wellness Recovery Action Plan. In previous semesters, we've had support groups about stress, insomnia or sleep issues, anxiety, trauma, procrastination, and then something called RIO, recognize, gain insight, and openness to your presenting concerns. And students give really great feedback about these support groups, and form friendships and connections that last a lifetime. So another thing that we at Student Health Services do are resources and referrals. Like I mentioned, we help students sign up for free or low cost health insurance. We get people connected to community clinics for individual or group therapy, housing and food resources, primary care providers, psychiatrists, drug and alcohol programs, and then legal and social services as well. And how do you know when you might need help? Well, I say call us anytime. If you're kind of struggling with something and feeling like you're stuck, we are always here to help you Monday through Friday. And so please do reach out, and we can kind of help support you figuring out when you need to get help. But if you're feeling emotions that are kind of persisting for more than 2 weeks, and you're having a hard time functioning at school or at home or at work, this is a good indication that you need some professional help. And so please contact us. And last but not least is a 2020 hot topic, which is how do you stay healthy in an endemic, which is different than a pandemic. And so basically what that means is that this is sticking around. This is going to be around for a while. And so I know that you all know this, but I'm just going to go over it anyway. You want to wear a mask. You want to wash your hands often. You want to hang out with people outside your household, 6 feet distance and outside. Avoid crowds, avoid poorly ventilated space, and then cover your coughs and sneezes. As we move through tiers, which might change, you want to kind of think about, okay, well, that restaurant is allowing indoor dining, but when I went by, it looked like there were a lot of people. You probably want to avoid that. You want to use your judgment to stay safe. And since many of you are younger and healthy, you might not qualify for an immunization for a while. So you want to keep using these guidelines. Monitor your health daily. If you have new symptoms, you need to kind of follow the guideline, contact your primary care provider. you can contact us. Our main role is to help set you up with resources. You want to clean and disinfect your frequently touched surfaces, doorknobs, countertops, keyboards. You want to disinfect those daily. And then, how do we stay healthy? Well, vaccination is really important. And I love this visualization, this chart, because it basically shows if enough people are immune, the virus is less likely to spread and less likely to have variants. And so it is really important for us to have herd immunity. The vaccine is really important for people who might be more likely to get very sick. So people that are older, people with certain medical conditions, and basically everything we've talked about in this presentation keeps your immune system strong. So if you are exposed to this virus, by taking care of yourself and staying healthy, you will hopefully be able to fight this virus and not get as sick and not be in the hospital. And so staying healthy is especially important right now. If you have any questions, if you want to talk about anything that I have mentioned, please contact Student Health Services. Our mental health team is here. Our nurse practitioners and medical assistants and administrative staff, we're all here to serve you and all of the student body and staff. And so please contact us if you need anything that I've mentioned. Take care.